What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Clutch Finisher. When we talk about greatness in sports, it's usually measured by titles: Jordan versus LeBron, Messi versus Ronaldo, Brady versus Montana. How many rings, how many trophies, how many times you made it to the top. But in the UFC, not everyone gets the same opportunity to chase greatness. Some fighters get fast tracked, like Anderson Silva, who got a title shot after just one UFC fight. George St. Pierre got his first title shot after just 2 wins. John Jones, he got his title fight after 3 consecutive wins. Before we dive in, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. It takes hours of hard work to bring you this content, and your support keeps it all going. So let's get into it. The fighters who made the UFC respect them the only way possible, by winning over and over again. This video is about them. Let's start with the fighters who had to win 8 straight before the UFC opened the door. Charles Du Bronx Oliveira, one of the best redemption stories in MMA history. Before his title run, Charles had been counted out more than once. People said he couldn't handle pressure, that he'd fold in big moments. Some called him a quitter, but something changed, and it wasn't just his training. After the birth of his child, Oliveira said his purpose shifted completely. He fought like a man with something bigger than himself to fight for. From that moment, he went on an 8-fight winning streak, destroying everyone in his path, and finally earned his title shot. When it came, he didn't just win, he made a statement. The man holds the UFC record for the most finishes. Then you've got Kamaru Usman, the Nigerian nightmare. 8 straight wins before the UFC finally gave him a title shot. But it wasn't because of injuries. It was because the UFC didn't think he could sell fights. He wasn't flashy, he wasn't loud, he was just dominating everyone quietly. But Usman kept working, kept winning, and when he got his chance against Tyron Woodley, he left zero doubt. That night, he didn't just win a belt, he started one of the greatest championship runs ever. At one point, he was the pound for pound king of the UFC. And finally, Khamzat Chimaev, the wrecking ball. 8 UFC fights, 8 wins, and now an undefeated middleweight champion. He doesn't care about callouts or marketing, he just smashes whoever is in front of him. At one point when it looked like the UFC may not give him a title shot, he literally said that he didn't care about the belts, but rather the money. I am not sure if he truly meant that, or if he just didn't think he would get a title shot. By the time the UFC finally gave him a title shot at Dricus du Plessis, he'd already beaten every type of fighter they put in his way. And once again, when opportunity came, he made it count. Next up are the Warriors, who had to put together 9 straight wins before the UFC stopped overlooking them. Max Holloway. What can you say about Max? 9 wins in a row before even getting a crack at gold. The guy was fighting everyone, top contenders, veterans, prospects, while the division was stuck in the Aldo McGregor drama. Max didn't complain, didn't sit out, didn't beg for fights. He just kept showing up and putting on clinics. And when he finally got the interim shot, he delivered, and then unified the title to become one of the best featherweights of all time. Then there's Leon Rocky Edwards. If patience was a fighter, it'd be Leon. 9 wins and a no contest before he finally got his opportunity. He was winning consistently for years, but the UFC was more interested in pushing the big personalities: Masvidal, Covington, even Nate Diaz. Leon stayed calm, stayed focused, and when his chance finally came against Usman, he gave us one of the greatest moments in MMA history. Headshot dead. Bilal Muhammad is another fighter who had to fight his way into relevance. They labeled him a boring fighter, but the truth is, he was a dominant fighter that the UFC didn't want to be the face of the division. 9 straight wins wasn't exciting enough. Elite cardio, smart game plans, pure consistency. He didn't talk his way to the top, he worked his way there. And when he finally got his title shot, it was undeniable. And then there's Habib Nurmagomedov, the greatest lightweight we've ever seen. Habib went 9-0 in the UFC before he got his title shot. The truth is, Habib didn't get the promotional push others did. He wasn't loud, he didn't play the hype game, he just kept smashing everyone. And when he finally got his shot, he made the lightweight division look like a formality. Unfortunately, after his dad passed away, he retired. He left undefeated, but he had so much left in the gas tank. People who knew him said he was getting better and better. He could have won 10 more fights in a row. Honestly, if the UFC had given him the opportunity earlier in his career and his father hadn't passed away, he would have been the undisputed greatest fighter of all time in everyone's eyes. No debate. And at the top of it all, Islam Makhachev. 10 straight wins before the UFC gave him his shot at the belt. 10. That's absurd. He was dominating everyone, finishing guys, outclassing them technically, and the UFC kept finding reasons to give others title shots. Like Michael Chandler, who had just entered the UFC and got his title shot after just one fight against Dan Hooker. But like Habib before him, Islam didn't need to talk. He let the results speak. Now, he's one of the most dominant champions in the sport, and he's still getting better. These fighters, Oliveira, Usman, Chimaev, Holloway, Leon, Bilal, Habib, and Islam, didn't get lucky. They didn't talk their way into title shots, they earned them with hard work, persistence, and streaks too long to ignore. They're living proof that in this sport, respect isn't given, it's taken. Who do you think had the hardest road to a UFC title shot? This is Clutch Finisher, and I'll see you in the next one.